Hello, lovelies. So, our last reading for October and really also August was more reflecting on behaviors that we could really address, things that we could tie up, loose ends to tie up, things we can address and get rid of, as well as really holding on to some patience through some challenging situations. And I really want to see for November kind of one, what that's going to bring about, but really more or less just to see what transformations are getting ready to take place. Any last little things that are kind of stinging that you can address and get rid of, behaviors that you can recognize and change, or self-destructive thought processes or patterns or people, as well as looking at what is coming your way as far as potential and potent transformations between now and the end of the year. Next month, for December, we're going to take a look. I'm going to do two readings for December. One is going to do more of a reflection type of reading, looking at the energies for 2020 and really just reflect on that, what happened. How can we take that energy and use that into 2020, and that's going to lead into the second half of, or the second reading, which is going to be it's going to be focusing on the resolution based on that reflection. How can you use that for what to look forward to in 2021? How can you, if you're able to follow through with all of these types of transformations and these challenges and this patience, what is that paying off for? What can you look forward to in 2021 in general, or even at least just as you kind of flow into the first portion of 2021? So that's the plan. We're going to take a look at that transformational aspect, more of a kind of a preliminary transformational point. What can you start looking at now as we approach the end of the year that you can start reflecting on, tying up, finishing up, and getting ready to just kind of prep and motivate for 2021. Okay, so let's get started. Hello, Pisces. All right, let's take a look and see what things are transforming for you, what behaviors and energies you're releasing or getting rid of, and what will bring in more of what you are desiring. All right, let's see. So what hurts or situations or traumas do you need to release that are still kind of stinging, that have some reserve energy that's not feeling so great? We've got the Two of Pentacles in reverse, so unsuccessful outcomes are, still kind of at this moment something that you are trying to get rid of, release, transform, get into a better position. Yeah, so what is this? Four of Swords in the reverse. So you need a break, obviously. You want some resolve, you want some shifts, you want something to kind of make, have some movement here with some stagnation. And I feel like that's exactly what's getting ready to take place. There's no more rest on the situation. Things are, if they needed to upheaval, boy, they're upheavaling, if you will, so that you can start to see some results. And the stagnation's kind of ending, I guess, more than anything is what I'm seeing. So they're good cards, actually. If there's anything that's been attached as far as self-destructive behavior, if you've been kind of tossing around that control factor a little bit, just to kind of gain insight, understanding, to hold control in other areas, I would maybe recognize that and stop that, because it could be giving an impression of a certain type of like mental control that associates with something not so positive, if you will, and will actually create more isolation than a connection. And that's just because of past traumas that whoever or whatever you're dealing with or working with has experienced or gone through. And so you'll want to be cautious about that approach, okay? And instead go with what you know. Think about kind of the bird's eye perspective of what they've gone through, of what they're going through, of how you want to present yourself, and just do that in the most Aquarian of ways. the way that produces the best result, and the most inspirational and within good faith to present to, as long as it goes towards presenting a benefit and a good positive result as opposed to anything opposite, you're in good shape. Okay, but yeah. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So what aspect of your life is undergoing a pretty important transformation at the moment? There's been an imbalance regarding a direction, a shift, a path, a journey that you've been trying to take or start, if you will. That's what's getting ready to be quite affected in a very, I feel like, positive way here. I feel like you are getting ready to, there's going to be a shift from this difficulty in not being satisfied with the patience that you've had and feeling like it's just been kind of tough. It's been a long journey. It's been a long road, just trying to give and give and give and just receiving just enough back. That's getting ready to shift. I do sense that whatever's happening, there's going to be a satisfaction where that patience does pay off. And that's what's getting ready to transform here. Is this has been a depletion. Even though it's been a very powerful and important role in your life, it's been in a position of depletion for enough that any longer could present a level of, I don't want to say resentment, but just a teensy bit of trauma, a teensy bit of, there's a reserve that starts to create, and you don't want that, and if so, you want to be able to communicate that. And you've been in a position where you've had to kind of hold your tongue because you could only communicate so much before you actually create like a guilt trip or a further issue by presenting that. So you've been walking on this thin ice, for a while, and I don't want to say eggshells. I mean, you've been able to communicate, but you've also had to be very aware of how this other situation or other person is being affected by it. Okay, but that's what's getting ready to transform in a good way. It's in a very good way. It's in a way that is going to be uplifting and give you realization and clarity and healing and an awakening of understanding. I definitely feel you're going to get a pretty significant, message, if you will. Okay, so let's take a look and see what can help you kind of dive into that hard space to give you more, to explore more of what you need. So this is like seeing what makes the situation better, what helps the situations, rather than it bringing a conflict. What can you bring to the table that brings expression and creativity? Okay, we can still have expression, but it comes with creativity as opposed to conflict. This is something that can come from your heart, but that brings more of what you need as opposed to what you don't need, okay? If that makes sense. Because what you don't want is teetering in, constantly looking for balance and compromise, right? You instead want to be able to look at this and always have that creative expression, something that produces, humor and that produces positivity and, comfort, as opposed to caution or conflict or difficulty or constant compromise. You know what I mean? There's a lot of C's in there. So anyway, that's really I hope that makes sense for you guys. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so what will bring more of what you are desiring? Oh my god. Okay. Yes. I like that. What about it? The harmonious the relationship can be. Okay, this came out in the reverse. So it's telling me that the more harmonious the relationship is in general, the more these little situations that take place can actually turn into positives. Setbacks can actually create opportunities. So having that unconditional love, having that harmony and that attraction and that desire for that positivity, okay, even if it kind of feels funky for the moment, knowing that that's going to balance its way out, and that's just how relationships work. One day one person can feel like shit, the other's feeling great, and then they can offset each other, and they flip flop, and the other happens on the other day, and that can happen in all kinds of different relationships or scenarios. So the more you can be optimistic, positive, and be in that flow and harmony, the more those moments will just kind of just come in and out of your reality like it never even existed. I mean, it's almost like you don't even see or feel them anymore, because there's that flow, that channel is just open for that to work very smoothly, if you will. Okay. All right. I hope that makes sense for you guys. If you want to look at your personal situation, let me know. Take what fits, leave the rest. If you need clarification, my rates are down below. Everything's still 50% off. Otherwise, have a great month. Much love to you guys, and we'll talk to you next month.